Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and as always, I'm joined by Aaron.
Hello, everyone.
And our recurring guest star, Lynn, is joining us tonight.
Greetings.
And Aaron, you feeling a little pretty tonight?
I am. I'm feeling like I am just a Westmore beauty gay. I Mackenzie Westmore, who most of us know from Passions, is the great Sheridan Crane. She's got a makeup line out, and I don't really wear makeup in my day to day life, but I said, no, what, fuck it, I'm gonna try it because there's a little bit of imperfections I don't really care for, but she's got this coverage perfector. It's 2-in-1. It's foundation and concealer. Really good. And then she's also got this 60-second eye effect. And my dog is playing with her toy. Mechanic. But it's like you put it on your eye and it helps just fix some of that if you're late at night and need a little extra help. And then she also has, but I haven't tried this, but it's like a body thing where it'll get rid of veins and covers tattoos and different stuff like that.
Oh.
I haven't tried that because, as a plus size model that I am, I'm not comfortable taking off my clothes. So I haven't had a need to use it yet.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I highly recommend the Westmore Beauty. They're good.
Is there a website that we could go to check it out?
Yeah, it's just, you can just Google Westmore Beauty. I think it's just westmorebeauty.com. Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Awesome.
Okay.
P.S.
I'll
I
check
love
it
you,
out.
Mackenzie Westmore. Sorry, she was talking about this on the Passions podcast with Natalie Z and Travis, and that's where I was like, okay. And I'm an impulse buyer. I hear about something, I'm gonna go check it out, and I did. And the next thing you know, I was buying it. So,
But, all right, so tonight we're calling it Sins of the Mother. It's basically a culmination of months worth of Sami hiding the secret that she walked in on John and Marlena making love in the conference room.
Right.
And then we were also talking about 20 years later how her son Will walked in on her and EJ having grief sex because they thought their son Johnny had died. And the aftermath of that. So roll the credits and we'll get right into it.
P.S. If you hear random noises, I don't know why I say P.S. all the time. It's my dog making weird noises. So,
Okay.
just FYI.
Very good.
All right. So the Sami episodes were from September 10th and September 13th, 1993. Because September 10th kind of ended on a cliffhanger and the 13th picked up with the actual story. I had remembered that Sami was bulimic and she was struggling with that, but I thought it was pretty much over at this point, but I guess not.
I forgot about it, Jim. I mean, I knew at one point she was bulimic, but I just didn't know it was during this storyline.
So with Sami, didn't we open with her on the floor because she had passed out?
Yes, and Jamie was getting her a candy bar.
Right.
Yeah. I miss Jamie. I wish she would have stuck around more.
Didn't Sami throw water in her face one time after telling about? There's no telling. Yeah. But who hasn't Sami threw water or a drink in her face?
Probably slapped her a few times. Who knows?
Probably.
Mhm.
But Sami doesn't want her father to know that she's bulimic, and she doesn't want her father to know about the affair. But Marlena knows about the bulimia and has had her seeing a therapist about it.
Mm-hmm.
But Jamie's been watching this firsthand, and she says that she has a sister that was bulimic, so she knows all the signs. And she basically runs to Roman and tells him everything. Well, not about the affair, but about the bulimia. Because she feels like Sami won't listen to anybody, and maybe he can get through to her.
True.
So Sami comes home. Well, first, Roman and Marlena kind of have a little tiff because, excuse me, he's a little bit upset that Marlena knew about this and didn't tell him. And
Marlena's pregnant at this time, right?
Hmm.
yes, with Belle.
I forgot all about their house. I was just the glory. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot they had a house.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that house becomes Abe and Lexi's house at some point.
Maybe.
Probably.
Does Marlena think she's pregnant with John's kid or Roman's, or does she not know?
I think she thinks it's Roman's.
Or she
I know
wants it to
Sammy
be
switches
Roman.
paternity results at some point.
Okay.
I don't know if
But-
she has already done it. Because I think she got a job at the hospital, so she could do that.
The first of many times.
Yeah.
Oh, Sammy.
So tricky.
It was weird to see her and Carrie getting along. I guess because my formative years watching Days, where they were at each other's throats.
Right.
So to see them getting along, I'm like, oh, I forget they, you know.
Yeah, they get along for like another year. And then Sammy feels wronged by her, and then
Sammy
boyfriend.
feels wronged by everyone.
I forgot how long Allison Sweeney's hair was when she was younger.
Yes. That was a big press story when she got her hair cut, actually. I remember that being in some of the soap mags. Yep.
It was so funny. I was watching it, and the next thing I know, I see John just kind of glances over and then goes, "Wait, is that the girl that just got kidnapped?" I was like, "Yeah." Like, see, you do know the things. He's like, "I know that one thing."
Connecting the dots.
Yeah.
That's good.
So when Sammy comes home, Roman says that he knows about the bulimia and he's going to make it better. And she's just like freaked out that he knows about it because she feels like it makes her look disgusting and gross.
Well, and does she first think he's talking about the pregnancy? Because he's like, Sammy, I know the secret. And she's like giving him the wide eyes. So
yeah.
Oh, I know. I missed those ones. I know. You know. Commercial break.
Yep.
And then 3 months later, you finally find out what it is. No, I'm just kidding.
And I think, doesn't she think Marlena's the one that told him about the bulimia?
Yeah.
She blames her mother, which is
but then he says Jamie's name at some point. So then she's all like, Jamie, like, I'll deal with her later.
Right.
But so Roman leaves, and this is when Sammy and Marlena have their showdown.
And what a showdown it is.
It had been building for a while. It was time.
It was about 6 or 7 months at this point.
Right.
So what'd you guys think of it? I feel like I've been doing all the talking.
That's okay.
I loved it. I love a good showdown. You know, I'm speechless. No. Marlena just got in, like, just tell me, then tell me. I was like, oh, girl, get it. You know. And then Sammy, throws out the, I know you're a slut. That's not how she did it, but I'm paraphrasing it.
Well, she did allude to the fact that besides the Night Sins episodes where they did it during the big brouhaha press affair, did John and Marlena sleep together a second time after that too? Or I thought she alluded to that, or they talked about it or something.
Yeah, so they did sleep together one time before that.
Okay, got it.
He was going to leave town, and she ran onto the jet, the Alamein jet, I think, to stop him and beg him to stay, and then they made love on the jet. And it happened to be the same night that Sammy and Carrie were throwing her and Roman an anniversary party for their wedding anniversary.
Right.
So she came home after making love with John, and there was like this whole party at the house.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny that that's what they're doing, because in the episode where we watch with Sami and Will, Carrie's investigating a man who his wife thinks he's cheating, but he's actually just throwing an anniversary party.
Right. Full circle. I think it's funny just seeing the dynamic, the weird, or the dysfunctional dynamic between mother and daughter that's lasted for decades. You know what I mean? Sami just she kind of brings Marlena to the curb every time, and Marlena gets a little disheveled with Sami versus with everybody else. Marlena can usually keep her cool, but with Sami, the yelling usually begins. And maybe with her pregnancy, she's a little hormonal on top of it too. But yeah, she was kind of surprised when Sami just threw it in her face. But then yet she still didn't want her dad to know.
I'm the 90s when it'd be like, I know you made love to John. I'm like, made love? Really? No, they just had sex.
Yes.
Yeah, this is something that Sami, like, this was her go-to for why her life was all messed up for like 20 years.
She could forget her debit card and she would say, it's because John slept with Marlena. And I caught them on the conference table.
There's a lot of truth to that. I think that is her go-to for everything.
I mean, not anymore, but there for a good while.
There were times where she was good with this. She was good with them John and Marlena being married and being a couple, and because John raised Sami,
right?
Because they thought he was Roman.
That's what I get confused about, because John raised her. Yes, that's her. The other Roman's her dad, but still, you'd almost think she would root for John and Marlena because that's who she sees as her dad.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of like a tense issue with Carrie, because Carrie would still run to John for things when
Roman came back. He mentioned that, and you could tell he was pissed. He always run to John.
Yeah.
It was like, because you do things like that.
But so Sami would, be accepting, and she would even say, like she would admit that she cared about John and she loved him. But the minute something went against Roman or John didn't agree with her, it was like, you're not my father, like, you're not blood, like, I hate you, you ruined my life. Even up until like maybe, what was it, a year ago when he like passed, he had an aneurysm or whatever, it was because she was screaming at him like, you're not blood related, like, you're not my father.
Right.
Kind of depends on.
She's like, oh my God, John, no, don't die, I love you, I didn't mean it. Like,
Sami is very much, I can be mean to you, but if anyone else is going to be mean to you, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, typical, very typical.
But she's a daddy's girl.
Yeah, it's just funny how volatile she gets towards her mother through all this. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to remember too. Help me out, because I haven't watched Days all the way through. Is Marlena pregnant with Belle?
Yes.
Well, and we know what happened to Belle when she was born, and Sami and that dynamic too. So girl holds a grudge. It's kind of crazy.
In the current days, it looks like EJ and Belle kind of has a spark, and I kind of am hoping they sleep together or something. And Sami gets mad, and then Belle's like, "Well, you sold me on the black market, you bitch. Payback."
What's funny about that is when Kirsten Storms played Belle, her and Sami were close, like teenage Belle, and like that never like came up at all. And I feel like in the last couple of years, there's been like tension between Belle and Sami, and Belle brings it up. Like, oh, remember when you tried to sell me on the black market?
Yep, Belle brought it up.
I'm like, oh, now you're mad about that?
Yes, exactly.
Like, that was like 300 schemes ago, Belle.
Get over that. That was 2 decades ago.
I'm like, did Belle just find out about this?
I wish Sami would just go, listen, I've done a lot more to you since then. Let's pick something else.
So yeah, I don't remember how much longer it goes on before Roman actually finds out. I want to say it's at least another 6 months.
Oh wow!
Because Sami has to like kidnap Belle and try to sell it on the black market.
Right. There had to be that opportunity.
But yeah, I think that's pretty much all that happened with that, right?
For them, it was nice. So I'm going to talk about Billy for a second. It was nice to see Billy falling in love with Bo, because I'd never seen that.
Right.
Okay. That was happening during when little Aaron was in school, and they didn't care if I caught my soaps at 1.
They had
And-
been sprinkling in scenes with them together all year. I don't know if they knew that Crystal Chappelle was leaving, or if they were just trying to have a contingency plan in case she left,
Right.
that they would have another love interest, or maybe if they both stayed, maybe they were going to do a love triangle. Who knows?
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Because Billy and Carly are complete opposites.
And I just have to say, RKK was a great Beau recast. I loved him and Billy.
He was.
Good. Yeah.
Now, fast forwarding to November 21st, 2011.
Boom.
Not so child, Aaron.
No, Aaron caught this.
I don't remember what was going on. I remember that John and Marlena had just come back to town. And John was involved with something shady because I remember him getting arrested pretty soon after they came back. And was there like a shooting at the pub or near the pub and Johnny went running off?
Yes. I can't. I don't know all the details. I can't remember all the details. And my mind was too busy looking at, once again, the sets to focus on what was happening pre-episode. Because I'm just like, why is there stairs where the Salem Inn is?
Well, those were the stairs that Nicole fell down and fake had a miscarriage that she already had. Like the baby was still in her bed.
I know that.
She tried to blame Jennifer for it.
Oops.
But yeah, I know there was some kind of shooting. Spooks Johnny. He runs off.
Mm-hmm. I forgot how cute that kid was.
He was a good little actor.
He was good.
Is a good little actor. You know, for a kid to be on a soap, that can't be easy.
Or they, because it was twins.
Oh yeah, they.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Rafe had. I wish they'd kind of explore that a little bit, like Grown Up Johnny with Rafe, because they were really close.
They were, yeah.
It seemed like it. Rafe seemed like he was probably his best when he and Sammy were together during that time.
Rafe has
most likable. Rafe is what I'm getting at here.
Rafe has bulked up. Like he looks so tiny in 2011.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, Rafe.
Well, when Rafe first came on, Sammy was in hiding in a safe house, and he was like the FBI agent that was protecting her.
Got it.
Yeah, that's how they fell for each other.
Mm-hmm. So they find Johnny hiding at the Brady pub because they told him if he was ever lost or scared to just hide until they found him.
Right.
He did what he was told.
No, you can't be mad at him.
True.
I thought it was cute when he was like, I was waiting and waiting.
I'm really hungry. Give me some cookies and milk. Okay.
When they mentioned Grandma Caroline.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
So Sammy goes to see EJ what? To yell at him because their son's missing or
okay, no. So EJ prior to this had made her think that their daughter was dead.
Okay.
So she thought he was doing this with Johnny now. That's why she came and was like, I know you have him. Like,
and EJ gave Sammy full custody of Johnny. Was that it? So EJ wasn't really seeing Johnny much during that time or something. Like he was really angry at her. He's like, I give you our son to take care of, and this is what you do. You lose them.
I remember always being so mad at EJ for, oh God. It's brought back memories.
So I guess the thing that I found funny is like history repeated itself, not only with these two sleeping together, but them sleeping together with like 90% of their clothes on. And I'm like, okay, I swear I saw the same thing with John and Marlena on Night Sins. And I'm like, Marlena's got her big purple dress on and
John at least with the big purple dress, it can make sense how it would work. Neither one of them, I mean, they just pulled open the shirt and that was it. I was like, did y'all have sex?
I know. And I kind of wondered the same
just
thing.
See y'all kind of grinding on each other.
I did think it was interesting and great acting that even though they were, I was going to say making love, they weren't making love. They were having grief sex.
Grief
they were both kind of in
hate.
a fog. They were both like crying, but they were like in a haze. Like they weren't really like into it. They were just kind of like zoning out while it was happening.
I turned to John. I went, "Is grief sex a thing?"
I was like, I've never been so sad that this has happened.
I know, it's like, I've never been so sad. Oh, sorry, I'm mad at you too. Boom, sex.
I remember during this period of time, a lot of the internet was abuzz like, well, maybe EJ and Will should get together. So I'm watching this scene going, is Will actually kind of turned on watching this happen with EJ, or is he just in shock that his mother is cheating on Rafe?
He's
that was
mad
an
because
ongoing thing that
he's mad because it
Will
wasn't
had a
him.
crush. Yeah, that Will
What
had a
Aaron
crush
said.
on.
No, Tommy, say it again. I'm sorry.
It was an ongoing thing that Will had a crush on EJ. People thought.
Okay.
I think he kind of did.
He was mad that his mother got there first.
So he sees this happen. He says nothing. He gets out. They kind of stop. Like,
And then they're like,
or did
"What are
they
we doing?"
stop their
Like,
grief and recognize what they were doing and kind of just like,
Uh-huh.
Sammy gets up and just leaves, and that's that.
It's like, ooh,
No, I'm sorry. She puts the battery back in her phone. Here's a message from Rafe that they found Johnny.
Yeah. But meanwhile, Will gets back to the apartment first. And Chandler Massey did great work. Like his fighting back the tears and just his shock.
well,
It was just, especially when he found Johnny, like the tears that were coming out, they looked real natural.
When he was laying intern talking about, like, we finally had a family, I was like, oh, come here, I'll give you a hug. I'm like, boy, bang.
Well, and help me with the timeline. Was Will fully out at that time, or was he finding himself?
No, it was the guys that he was going. So he was friends with Sonny.
Okay.
Sonny had only been in town for a few months.
Okay.
The guys that he was talking to at the pub, I think the party that he goes to is where he has his first kiss.
Okay.
I think he drinks a little bit and then he grabs a guy and behind one of the walls and kisses him.
So now
this is the beginning of it.
Right. And not to fast forward anything, but from when he saw Sami and EJ having their grief sex, when he confronted his mom about it, how much of a time span was that? Was that 3 or 4 months, or
November to February?
Okay.
Yeah, it was
so
definitely
by February. By February, had Will come out yet, or had he still not said anything to his
No,
mother?
that was when, because after he confronted Sammy's when he went to the pub and met those guys.
Okay, thank you.
So this was the beginning of the coming out.
Very good, very good.
I don't think he's even hooked up with Gabby at this point.
No.
Got it.
Because he comes out to a lot of his family members.
It seemed like Marlena was the first one, if I remember correctly, right?
Kate flat out is your guy. She sees that he's struggling with something, and she's like, "You can tell me." And he kind of retreats and is like, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "I work in the fashion industry. I know a lot of people." She's like,
I wish you would have been like, "Well, when you were Margot, you did it." No.
That always irritated me because Kate, I could see he wasn't ready to say it, so Kate saying that to him probably scared him.
Right.
But it always irritated me that Marlena, I love Marlena, don't get me wrong, but Marlena was made out to be the best grandmother out of the two. Kate wasn't given the chance. She wanted to be there for him.
Right.
So that kind of irritated me the way they wrote that for Kate. And Sami was not okay with it.
Oh no, she was not.
Well, I remember that. And it seemed like, to back up too, when EJ and Sami get done having their grief sex and Sami comes home to see Rafe and see Johnny, she sees Will and she can feel right away that the dynamic's off with him, don't you think? I mean, she's looking at him and she's realizing he's not necessarily happy for her. She hasn't got it all figured out right away, which is kind of funny that when the moment finally happens months later and Will just yells at her and blurts it out. She
still has no clue. She's like, "What are you talking about? I have no idea."
And she's kind of shocked, and I'm like, "Sami, all the things that you've done, you're just so shocked." Now, granted, Will was pretty strong. When he called her a whore, I was like, "Whoa."
I like that they updated it from slut to whore. But
And they also didn't say making love; they said sex.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah.
sex with each other.
Progress. But Sammy, she's as much as I think if anyone else played Sammy, I probably wouldn't love her. I think it's Allison Sweeney is the reason why I love Sammy.
Got it.
She will lie to you dead in the look you right in the eye. You could have the proof right there, and she'd still say, "That's not me. That's Kristen." And I'm until she will, man, she will until someone finds out the actual truth. She will swear she's not lying.
I get it.
She didn't do anything.
The way that she attacks Nicole, you do the same thing but worse.
I've never understood. I get why they don't like each other, but
she doesn't like Nicole because Nicole hurt Eric in 1998. Sammy holds grudges.
She definitely holds grudges.
I know her and Kate just finally started to get along.
Yeah, when she left the show the first time, they were on good terms finally.
Well, also after Will died too, I think they got.
But yeah,
better. Yeah. I mean, I guess I can see why she doesn't like Nicole for the sense that Nicole did switch her baby. So she has a new reason to hold her grudge.
Yeah, but then she even got okay with that. She was still letting Nicole see Sydney. Reluctantly, but because she had raised her for a year or two. So she was, I don't know what she called her. Mommy Nicole. That's what she called her. Mommy Nicole.
Ooh. Sammy didn't like that.
I don't know.
I did like that Will said history's repeating itself.
Right. That was a great throwback.
Because she's thinking, oh my God, I can't say anything. This is just like, and she tries to say this is different.
She did.
Right.
Well, so I was waiting for her to say was it grief sex, and they were so devastated about losing Johnny and they didn't know what they were doing versus really wanting each other. You know what I mean? It's interesting.
She kind of didn't get a chance to explain herself because he just didn't want to hear it.
Right.
I don't blame him.
Well, he's his mother's son, so she did the same thing to her own mom. She wasn't hearing it, and Will wasn't hearing it either, and he was very temperamental, and out of the house he stormed.
Moving out.
I've always, and I still feel this way, I'm okay if John and Marlena's affair, because could you imagine the man you love die, come back, and then you find out you fall deeply, even more in love with this guy, to find out that's not your husband. Can't turn off those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't blame Marlena.
Yeah.
But Sammy, she cheats on every husband.
So although this was the episode that was the confrontation where it came out, there's another episode where I guess they're continuing it. I don't know if it's the next one or whatever, but I remember vividly Marlena being at the apartment and hearing them go at each other.
Ooh.
And Marlena being like, it's happening again. And her having flashbacks to her confrontation with Sammy.
Oh my gosh, I remember that too. She's Oh, I need to watch that one now because I want to see her. I love when they bring up the history.
But then Marlena needs to throw it up in Sammy's face and give her a dose of her own medicine too.
Well, she even said this is not like what my mother did.
Marlena should still read her the riot act over it. It would be funny.
And Will says, kind of gives Marlena a pass because he's like, at least Grandma Marlena loved John.
They were in love, yeah.
Yeah.
Which was, kind of my reasoning for.
Yeah.
I will say, no offense to Drake, he is much more attractive now as a silver fox.
Oh, yeah. John never did it for me. When he came back with his silver hair, I was like, oh, okay, John. Hi.
Same, because I remember, I wasn't a big John fan ever, but then the gray hair came around. It's like, Like even Craig, I don't remember thinking Craig was that like. I mean, he was attractive, but Craig now, I'm like,
Funny.
So I thought again, Allison Sweeney, Chandler Massey blew it out of the park.
mhm.
So let's talk about the other things that were going on. I thought about you, Lynn, because there was a familiar face from General Hospital on the.
I was excited to see that because I had never seen Sarah Joy Brown on Days of Our Lives. I had seen her when she was on As the World Turns a little bit. I might have saw an episode of Bold and Beautiful when she was on there, but I'd never seen her on Days. So, God, I just can't take my eyes off of her when she's on the screen. And I just loved seeing her dynamic with Brady. I realized she was there like less than a year. I don't know what the story was behind that, but the little bit I got, I enjoyed it. It was good.
I liked Madison. I think they felt like she didn't fit in.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I felt like her and Brady had great chemistry.
I did too.
I thought so too.
She was number 2 in a long line of women that died dating Brady or like didn't work out with Brady. First was Ariana, which was Rafe's sister, then her.
Yeah.
Then Kristen, then Teresa, then Kristen again, then Nicole, then Chloe.
It was interesting going back to the 90s of the first episodes that we watched and covered and seeing kind of sweet and innocent Kristen Eileen Davison on there with a relationship with John. Mm-hmm. And John all too quick to pull his pants down and have his little swim trunks on and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wow, look at 90s days. Holy cow.
It was interesting to see her like that, especially see John just like all in love with her.
Completely.
Yeah. This is still a few years before she kind of goes off the rails.
Well, I was thinking
she was a nice girl for a few years.
Got it.
As we were watching this, I was like, this is like 2 years before Marlena starts floating off the bed, John. Right. To my John. I was telling my John, I was like, we got 2 more years, then she starts floating.
And I think it was the second episode. I think it was the second episode. I think it was the second episode of the 90s that we watched that then had Carly on it and Lauren or Larry. And, I was like, oh, wow. I thought maybe Carly was already gone. So I was surprised to see her. Now, granted, she only spoke like 3 lines because she was like out of it half the time. And she must have some memory loss during this time. Yeah.
She, this is a few weeks after the Buried Alive storyline.
I think
she has She thinks she knows who she is and she kind of knows who Lawrence is, but she thinks it's 1983.
Got it.
She thinks it's when they first started dating.
Well, so Vivian seemed really demure to Lawrence, Larry. And is that because she's so guilty of everything and was she hiding it from him, or did he know that she had done that or not?
She blamed it on these herbs that she was taking that drove her crazy, and that's what drove her to it.
Of course.
So I guess she's kind of feeling remorseful because she's off the herbs.
Got it. I did a screenshot when it was Vivian on my screen, and I sent it to Tommy, and I'm like, this is what I'm watching right now.
Good time.
We got to see Peter Blake.
It was weird seeing Peter Blake. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh my gosh.
I had forgotten all about him, honestly. And then I was like, oh yeah.
I remember rooting for him and Jennifer.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think the show was.
No.
Drama.
I don't even think we know that Stefano is their adoptive father yet.
No. Because I kept
she just keeps saying, if he finds out who I am, he won't want to be with me. So they still haven't revealed it yet.
Right.
And they keep saying her fiance is Tony DeMare.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, was she really adopted? Like, or just because I was trying to read up because I was confused.
Yeah, she was adopted.
My mind was playing tricks. I was like, wait, if she was adopted by Stefano, why would she be engaged to Tony? Like my mind was just, they must have not grew up together.
Tony's paternity I don't know. I feel like they've switched it. He was his son. He wasn't his son, because then he was also with Daphne Demera at one point.
Oh, that's right. He
And
isn't
then
Stephanie's son, is he?
and then I felt like they said he was his biological son. So I don't know where we land on Tony's parentage right now.
About the same as
It's
John.
kind of like John Black. They keep changing it whenever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Who else did we see?
I know. I'm trying to remember who else. We talked about Robert Coker Kelly as Bo, which is fun to see. We got to see Lisa Renna as Billy. Billy must have just been starting to fall in love with Bo, I take it, during all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Because then she was trying to pull him in closer to a kiss, and then he's like, I'm still in love with Carly. And he's running out of the room and apologizing.
Yeah, so I was also trying to remember what was going on with that, because I feel like what happened was he doesn't know that Carly's alive. I feel like he thinks she's dead still, and he left town
that head to him.
to take a case, and Billy followed him.
Gotcha.
I was having to remind myself they didn't really have cell phones. They didn't have like instant messaging.
Nope.
He probably would not know Carly was alive for a while. Because I messaged Tommy when he's like, Carly died. I was like, Carly's not dead. Like I was nervous.
A little bit he did.
The town might not even know, because I think Lawrence is the one that dug her up, so they may have just brought her straight to the mansion.
I think they did.
Yeah.
Oh, Lexi. We saw Lexi.
I was gonna say we got to see, like, I was never a fan of Lexi's though.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked Lexi.
I don't know why. I think it's just, I don't know. I love her. Always loved Celeste. Loved her mom, but there's something about Lexi that kind of, when she's good, I like her. When they try to make her evil, I just felt like it was out of character for her to be evil. I think that's probably why.
Yeah.
Was there a different Chad? Was there a different Chad on this episode that we watched?
I don't remember seeing a Chad.
I don't remember.
He was a different Chad back then, but I don't remember seeing him.
Okay.
Chad used to be really, really tall.
Okay.
And then he shrunk like 5 inches with the recast.
Yeah.
Because I remember when they would put that Chad with people like Melanie or what was her name? The other girl who had baby Grace.
Oh, Mia.
Like there'd be like this much difference between, like he would have to bend down.
Oh boy.
That's funny. I remember. Oh, Donna's here.
Yeah, he said Mia. I would have gotten there eventually.
So yeah, I forgot about the mayoral race that EJ
I
ran.
did too.
And Nicole. I don't know why she keeps going back to him. I mean, I want her to go back to him now because it's a different EJ. But
oh, funny.
Yeah, no, I like. Yeah, I'm with you there.
Literally earlier that year, they got married, and he cheated on her with her sister, played by Tamara Braun.
Oh wow! Was that when she was playing not Ava, but
that was when she first came on?
Got it. Because then I think Natalie Livingston, who played Emily on General Hospital, played her first, and then they switched her out for Tamara Braun.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't she? Oh, I can't. Oh my God, I'm too much history. I'm trying to sink at the end.
There's been quite a few GH actors on Days, and I've not always seen them all. So, like you said, it was interesting seeing Sarah Brown on there. I enjoyed that.
Did she play Ava first?
She played Ava first.
Okay, that's what I thought. And then they brought her back as Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Because we killed Grandpa Sean for no reason.
Right.
And then she came back. She was not there very long.
No. She actually, playing Taylor, she actually ended up with Vivian's son. Do you remember the pimp that made Chloe a prostitute?
I forgot Chloe was a prostitute.
Yeah, after Philip took Parker away from her.
That's
he became a
man.
prostitute.
I feel like I missed so much, even though I was watching it.
It's funny how we say things so quickly, like, oh my god, that happened, and this happened, and this happened, but this took months to tell. Or years for some of these stories. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I have to say. I was interested to see Lynn's reaction to Sarah Brown.
I was so happy to see her on there. It was like, oh yeah, I could tell she was being a little spicy right away too. Even like her and Nicole were getting into it, and they kind of grievously were hanging the flyers together, and it was good. I liked it.
So, which one do you think was better? The 90s?
The reveal?
Yeah.
The confrontation?
I thought the update. I thought the more recent version was very good. I thought the pacing and how it unfolded was very good.
See, that's the one I'm going with too.
I think it's because Alison Sweeney is a very powerful actress, and no shade to Dr. Marlena Evans, she's very good too. But you just don't see Deirdre Hall do a lot of these yelling climactic scenes, and I felt like between Sami and Will, that energy was there and it was matched, and you can really feel the angst on screen, and I enjoyed that. I thought it was very well done.
When he was doing that, I was like, ooh, you are Sammy's son.
But also, Alison Sweeney was only 17, so she's definitely, at that point she had molded her craft, and she could definitely elevate to that level.
But I thought she was already on back then, and I just thought Marlena was acting more shocked and surprised versus being totally angry. And when she was angry, it didn't have the same levity to me as what it did when we saw it happen between Sami and Will. That was my opinion. I liked the more recent round, if you will, between family.
I liked the more recent round because it felt more modern, and the way they were speaking felt more realistic.
True.
The dialogue was more realistic. Making
love versus I saw you had sex. And then when he calls her a whore. Again, I'm still in shock about that. I was like, whoa, okay, that's cold to your mother, but okay.
And if Days is still around in like another 15 years, we'll get to see it repeated again with Allie and Henry.
Oh, wow. Or Ariana and Will.
Oh.
Because Will's the unfaithful one out of Will and Sonny.
True.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Which, guess it's in his genes.
Do you want to take a minute or two? I'll flip up the Pictionary hourglass and give me some recent predictions. You guys have been looking at Twitter. What's going on? Are you reading the buzz, or are you staying on top of it, or do you have thoughts you want to comment on tonight?
Well, my thoughts never align with what the people on Twitter think. Two, while I'm very invested in these characters and love some of the performers, I'm not going to act the way they do. If Abigail's murdered, all right, Abigail's murdered. I'll see her in a couple years.
In its days.
Yeah. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, they could say it's a series, like it's for real. I don't believe them.
If Sin goes off the canvas, are you okay with that? Or are you upset, or what do you think?
I enjoy them, but I do feel like we need a break because Victoria does not want to come back full time.
Right.
To me, it's hard to craft storylines around a character who doesn't want to be there full time. So besides killing her off or just having her go somewhere or hide away like Hope, there's not much you can do with that.
Agreed.
In my opinion.
Tommy, thoughts?
I was really into Sin when they first started, but then I don't know. I kind of dipped out of the show, and then I just never really was fully invested in them. So I don't really have strong feelings if they're there or not.
I'm going to say something
about it, but
I'm going to say something that will probably get us hate mail. They haven't been on my screen in a while, and I haven't missed them.
Lastly, what do you think? Now, when people leave the canvas, then they usually bring others back. Days has done it multiple times. Are we going to see Will and Sonny come back full time?
No, I don't think so. Just because I know Chandler's working like a full-time job.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we went to that virtual meet and greet or that virtual event, he worked, but the reason he did some of the Christmas movies he did is because he had PTO, is what he said. Now, will he come back? Who knows? Possible, but I
Right.
don't see him coming back full time anytime soon. I'm hoping they trick us and Abigail's not the one that's dying and it will be Jennifer that's murdered. And that's why, like I was telling Tommy, I think, you know what? That's a character. Jennifer, Melissa got her good goodbye. She got to say goodbye. It's hard saying goodbye. I'm going to miss it. Blah, blah, blah. Bye.
Yep.
Then they bring Caddy back, kill her, and then they can, because, yeah, Abigail's a legacy character. But so many different characters have played her, or actors have played her.
Mm-hmm.
To me, a legacy character is someone who's been there with the show.
Okay, no. I've seen this argument on Twitter. That's a veteran. A legacy character is someone that was born on screen and grew up.
Really?
And watched them grow up.
A
Yes.
heroine versus a legacy.
Okay.
Yes, I get that.
I don't think of it as veteran, like they're a veteran, you know.
Well,
I think of them as just, you know, they're legacy characters. They've been there for a while.
I'll throw you one more question out there. If Abby's gone, who would you pair Chad up with?
They always seem to default him to Gabby when Abby's not around.
And they did just break up Gabby, or they're working on it with causing the devil's causing problems.
Okay.
Yeah. So my only issue, I like the actress that plays Gwen. Sometimes I like Gwen, but I'm not like a huge fan of her.
They made
hope
her.
That they are not killing Abigail to prop the character of Gwen.
But see, I think with what she's like, well, Xander, I know he switched babies, blah blah blah, kidnapped Nicole, blah blah blah. Gwen doesn't have that charisma that he has to get viewers. You know, like that's. I know Xander did some crappy stuff, but I still like him because the actor that plays him is very charming, and you know, I just don't get that from Gwen. But because she's
for a while, Xander was a villain. They would bring him back to do devious things, and then Sarah came. And then she kind of changed him for the better.
Sure.
I just don't. I think they're running Gwen into a wall or a corner. Because I would have much rather seen her be like, I don't want to lose you, but Sarah's alive. I found this out because Kristen DeMera, da-da-da. And then there become a love triangle.
Right.
Instead of her dressing up as Sarah in a mask, because Xander's not going to forgive that. He's just not going to. If he does, then that's just bad writing, in my opinion.
I'm really interested in the words that are being used. They're saying she's going to be brutally murdered. So I'm wondering, are we doing a serial killer storyline again?
Right.
I heard rumors they're going about, man, all this talk is going to get us lots of hate. I just know it. A whodunit. But see, I feel like we just had a whodunit with Charlie.
Oh.
I like
and you're just trying to guess what might happen. So,
yeah.
Audience, hopefully you just realize these guys are just spitballing right now, and I'm picking their opinion because they're heavier days watchers. So I kind of want to know what their thoughts are.
I mean, I go with whatever happens. I'm just like, I go with
the flow. Yep.
I have been, Tommy, how long have we been? I've been waiting for Carly and Bo to get together. He's been waiting for Philip and Chloe.
Yes.
We know things don't happen.
Sure.
I just read today that J. Kenneth Johnson was taken off.
I saw that. But Sarah was put on.
Yeah, it was like a double-edged sword.
People need to realize, too, Macy just had a baby not too long ago.
Marcy, yeah.
Or Marcy, thank you. Yeah. I don't know what, you know. Of course she's going to want to be. If you could take the time off to be with your child,
sure,
you would.
Yeah.
You can't blame her. You can't be mad at the Days Riders for getting.
I'm not mad at that. And also, if Kate's not available, I wouldn't be against the third actress being put into the mix for a recast.
I'm still pushing for a Hope recast.
I don't really want that. I was thinking about that today. I don't miss Hope.
I don't miss Hope, but I want them to show she's replaceable.
Right. Well, I think what's good after watching the episodes that
I'm
we
such
just
a-
watched and how everybody liked, and I'm forgetting the actor's name who played EJ, but how well they've done a successful recast with EJ because they held it off for a long time, and good for them because I think this has been a successful recast and the storyline has also worked for Days. Days' numbers are really up, and there's multiple things that lead to that. I'm sure the Devil storyline plays a huge part in that,
Lynn,
but they also have great actors going on and stories that
Lynn,
are
so
making
many
tune in.
people said they weren't going to watch anymore because the devil possession. They were not going to watch Days no more.
But they are.
And now they're saying they're making everybody gay. Okay.
That's
Well,
Salem need a little more LGBTQ representation, and they need to take some of that to GH, YR,
They
and
need to take it to Bold that is set in the fashion industry in Los Angeles.
well, there's that.
Bold does. They need a good helping of Rainbow. So I don't know. I'm interested to see how it plays out. That's where I'm at.
Very good. I just kind of wanted to get some opinions, and that was enlightening. It was a taste. That's all it is.
I just need people.
Yeah,
to stop.
I don't get crazy over stories. If I don't like them, I don't like them. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be over soon, and we'll move on to the next
Because
thing.
The teddy bear storyline. I don't care for it.
Yeah.
But you know what? It is what it is.
I haven't watched that yet. I think I'm just gonna skip it.
I think of this in writing terms too. They have to write 256-ish episodes a year.
Sure.
There's gonna be some doozies.
Sure.
Or some duds. Just be glad your show's still on.
Yeah. Again, I think Days does a great job with being true to the core families that are on there and keeping that cast pretty tight and interwoven. And I think they get a lot of accolades for that. I think Ron and others and Jamie is there now and stuff like that too. They're doing a good job of really trying to reflect that history and hold on to it and keep people engaged, which is good because there's nothing worse than like turning on a show and not recognizing over half the cast. So, or the character names.
I've enjoyed Days more this last 2 years than I have in a while.
Sure. Well,
That's actually something I thought about watching the 90s episodes and then 2011. I was like, we're seeing a lot of the same faces, even in today's show. I'm like, that's pretty cool that these people were on 30 years ago and they're still on.
Well, and I enjoyed what we covered tonight too, because the best thing that works for soap opera is if they can lean on history. And what we covered tonight really did that. And we got to see, how many years later, the same things getting thrown up in Sammy's face and what she did with her mother. And they did reference to that. And there's nothing like that when you can really honor the history that way. So that's pretty cool.
And I love that Days is a revolving door because sometimes I need a break from characters.
Sure.
I mean, as much as I like Stefano, there were times I'm like, okay, he's gotten away with too much. We need a break.
And anybody who watches the soap opera has to understand that that's going to happen. You're going to have your ones that really are there for a long time, but then you're going to have your ones that kind of ebb and flow and come and go. And I think you kind of have the stronger appreciation, and it does make the audience tune in when some of those people cycle back in. So that'll be good too. Cool.
Yeah. All right. So I guess that covers everything, right?
Much as we can.
Past and present.
And possible future. And we channeled Celeste for a little bit. We were giving readings, darling.
Cool. Any announcements you guys need to share before we go?
So this week on Patreon, we are going back to the cul-de-sac. We're doing the Abbey scale, which is our continued Knots Landing coverage of Aaron's first view of Knots Landing.
Yay.
We're covering episodes 7 through 10 of season 4. And that's going to be exclusively on Patreon. So head over there and subscribe and check us out.
Cool.
Tomorrow's a New Day is episode 5 this week or 6?
5. We are 5 weeks in. Can you believe it?
And things just keep heating up.
Mm-hmm. We have 2 more episodes before we take a little break.
Ooh, what will happen in Old Cove? Stay tuned.
Even I don't know. I'm just...
So that's Wednesday. We have Tomorrow's a New Day, and after tomorrow, the after show.
Nice.
And then Friday for Patreon, we have early access to episode 6, and after tomorrow for that episode also.
Nice.
So lots of things. And next Monday we're going back to Sunset Beach because we're having
we can't get enough. We can't get enough of SB.
That's awesome. The buzz is out there. People are kind of happy. You guys are giving that some love and some review. I mean, even my friends have mentioned stuff about it. So nice job, gentlemen.
Cool. Well, it's nice to see that these folks that aren't really available to just watch anywhere, you have to really dig.
Sure.
Is getting the buzz that it's getting.
Awesome.
Yeah. But all right, guys. Well, thanks for checking us out. As always, check us out on all the socials at Queers and Soaps and subscribe on Patreon at Queers and Soaps. And you can check us out on Patreon tomorrow for Knots Landing.
Yay.
And if not there, we'll see you next Monday for Sunset Beach.
Right,
bye, guys. Have a good night.
See you, everybody.